Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I want to start by just saying thank you so much for everybody who's made some comments on my latest post. It's weirdly reassuring to know I'm not the only one going through all this crazy. Of course, on the other hand, it's horrible because I wouldn't wish this on anyone. And, my heart just breaks that other people are in this suffering as well as I am. So for everybody who's found themselves trapped in bed and experiencing massive purges and releases and timelines shutting down and new timelines starting and confusion, and my heart goes out to you. My heart goes absolutely out to you. So I have managed to shower, wash my linens, and that in itself was a useful task. I was scared they were going to get up and walk away. I'm experiencing symptoms right now that have been frightening. And I just mentioned timelines closing down. So I don't know if what I'm experiencing is like a flashback to an old timeline and we're moving into something new. And so this is like a remember when. So my body is struggling and it's not a nice flashback because in 2019, my health was a total shit show, and I certainly don't want to ever go back to that. And I'm feeling a lot of pressure in my bladder right now. And so my mind's been freaking the fuck out because no, my health's getting bad. Am I going to die? Because ego's going through its own death right now. And so the panic has been extreme. The fear has been extreme. And here in Canada, we don't really have, it's Sunday. So my doctor's office is closed, and I went online and did, because the panic was getting the better of me. It definitely, I've avoided doctors left, right, and center. So I have for the last few years. But I went to get acupuncture done last 2 days ago, something like that. And she's like, your kidney bad. Sorry, my bad accent. But so she did a lot of work on my kidney meridian, which connects to the bladder. So I'm like, oh no, did something get kicked into action? Is this energetic? Oh no, is this Kundalini? Oh no, is this a bladder infection? Oh no, is this diabetes that's come back to haunt me? Because one of the symptoms that diabetes was the urgency to urinate. And I can remember when I was out walking trying to lose the weight, so many times I didn't make it home in time. It was so bad. And I'm like, oh no, is my diabetes back? And oh no, is this Arwen? My cat's got kidney disease, and she went into remission, but then she's had 4 bladder infections in the last 6 months. And I'm like, is this my cat? Oh my God, am I processing my cat? Because I'm clairsentient. So as an empath, I absorb other people's stuff and Arwen's my people. She's my only people now. It's weird living in hermited energy, but yes. So funny story. Well, funny kind of, haha. I found online a service that I didn't even know existed. And it was like, if you think you have an UTI, come to the pharmacy and we can get you sorted. So I was like, oh, great. I can just go into my pharmacy and they're going to help me out. And they wrote me a prescription for antibiotics, but they didn't even test my urine. And I was like, but I don't want to take these if that's not my problem. And then I couldn't really say to them, well, I don't know if this is Kundalini. It could be. Or what if this is my cat? Can you imagine how crazy he would have thought I was? He would definitely want to put me on a different script. What do you mean, your cat? Well, I feel my cat's things. I feel other people's things. Yeah, that wouldn't go over so well. So it's very difficult to navigate your health whilst on a spiritual awakening, a Kundalini awakening, while your gifts are becoming more and more intensified. And then the old medical system is something that you don't really plug into anymore. And the amount of times, because I can remember back in 2018, 2019, or was it later? I can't quite actually recall what year it was. Like, I was convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that I had kidney stones. I had like all the signs of kidney stones, like keeled over in pain. Like, my back pain was excruciating, and went to emergency, and they were like, oh, you're describing kidney stones down to a T. We'll do all these tests. And then the tests all came back clear. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. And the same with my heart. I can remember the first time that I had that weird, insane heart, like, activation or clearing or whatever you want to call it. Like, it just felt it felt like I was Iron Man, and I had just had that thing placed in my chest, and it was like, and like, I still get that like all the time, but I don't stress about it as much because I did go to hospital at one point, and they did x-rays, they put me on a heart monitor, and they were like, you're fine. Are you sure? Like, just squeezing my chest, trying to hold it together, because I thought it was just gonna, like, and I know a lot of people talk about palpitations and like extreme. I haven't really got that as much as the tightness, just the absolute tight feeling in the chest. So on this awakening, it's a weird navigation. Because you start to have some health issues or health concerns, and you're like, which way do I go? And I will go to the doctors because this put enough fear in me that, what if the diabetes is back? What did I screw up because I started eating honey? And added honey to my diet, where before I was like so sugar-free it was not even funny. Is that what it is? Is this energetic clearing of my root chakra and my sacral, because that's what I've been purging, is all these repressed memories coming up, and it's been brutal for the last 4 days, and 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. How many days have I been trapped in bed? It's been one of the most challenging rounds, without question. And I actually made like 2 videos that didn't make it onto YouTube, so they didn't. Maybe they will. I more made them for me, but maybe they will. I think there's some useful things in them, but yes. This is really challenging energy for us, for me, and I'm assuming for you as well, those that are watching me and resonating with, similar, that are part of the collective, as I call it, So we're part of this weird collective. And what's happening on another level is this merging of, the veil of separateness is disintegrating, is what it is. And because of that, we are becoming like hyper in tuned with other people who are in the collective with us. And so there's a group of us, grid workers. We're all located at a different place around the globe. A grid worker or a light worker, when you light up a road, or a city, right? You space out all the lights on a grid. You make it an electrical grid. And so we've been spaced out. We're all separate, my contacts are in New Zealand, in Holland, in the United States, a few Canadians, but we're all spread out because we're all holding a place, and we're helping to ground the light that is coming in. And it's a really hard job. Like I can imagine if you were an actual light worker working in a lighthouse, like kind of light worker, different type of light work. That's a 3D light worker as opposed to 5D. But I can imagine it would be really lonely and isolating. And what's challenging, again, is the discrepancy between the 3D world and the 5D world, right? So in the 3D world, isolation is seen as a negative thing. It's seen as like, you shouldn't do that. That's a no-no. But from a 5D or a spiritual perspective, being a hermit is a necessary part of the process. I'm sure that nobody was judging Jesus or Buddha for the time they spent hermiting during their own spiritual awakening and coming into an alignment with their own soul, right? So that isolation time, this hermit time that we are in, although challenging, is for our highest and greatest good. But the 3D world, that we still live in, would define it as problematic. And there is a difference between hermiting and being in isolation. There is a difference. Hermiting is like, spirit has placed me here and I am like learning to love myself and learning to be in my own company. And I'm learning to like transmute energy, and I'm learning and I'm learning and I'm learning. It's, a challenge, but that doesn't mean that it's not still good. Where like the traditional definition of isolation is like, no, closing myself off from the rest of the world. That's not what I'm doing. Spirit has closed me off. Spirit has placed me in a nice little bubble for my own protection, for my highest and greatest good, so that I can scream in the middle of the night and purge and cry and scream at God and all of these things with no one around me going like, what's wrong with you? That doesn't help. That's why we're put in part in this hermit energy. And then we experience all kinds of stuff that is happening on the 5D, spiritually speaking, as I said, as like light workers, but then the 3D world would judge us. So be cautious and be careful that we're not judging ourselves. And I am guilty. I'm putting my hand up and saying that's one of the things I'm working on and transmuting right now is self-perception in regards to judgment and criticism. Because another thing, from a spiritual point of view, on a spiritual awakening, being trapped in bed for 7 days is standard. It's something that's going to happen. You're going through so much changes and you're processing and healing so much stuff. For what I've been facing this week is equivalent to 50 years of psychotherapy squeezed into 1 week. Is what it is. Because I'm sitting in and experiencing the emotions that have been repressed all of my life. As I said in my writing, when you peel away the fat and you peel away all of the coping strategies and all of the addictions and all the trauma bonds and all of the behaviors and all of the limited thinking, when you peel all of that away, you're left with a wounded inner child that needs to cry. and shout and scream and feel rage and whatever it is that you need to experience, that was too terrifying to experience back then and too terrifying to experience for the last 40 years. And all the talking in the world wouldn't help you heal. Listen, I did 30 years of talking to therapists, this one, that one, the other one. And at the end of the day, what I'm processing through is at such an accelerated rate of healing that it's mind-boggling. And that's a good thing, because my mind is totally boggled right now. And my mind is freaking out because my ego identity attached to the traumas is disintegrating, because I'm sitting in the traumas and I'm feeling the traumas and I'm re-experiencing and processing through, and that is healing. And so at the other end of healing is letting go, is forgiving, is moving on. You know, it's all those things that some asshole said to us along the way. I'm sure you've gotten it too. You should just move on. You should just let it go. Yeah. To let it go, to move on, requires sitting in it and experiencing it and feeling it. So that's exactly what I'm doing. But thanks for your lack of compassion. Go away. I have no patience for people like that. What people like that are, people who say just let it go and move on. People who are bypassing. They're not doing the work that we're doing, the healing work, the sitting in it, the crying, the like feeling. They're bypassing to bliss. And the problem is, when you bypass to bliss, eventually that's going to crumble, and Kundalini will come along and go, ha, you're not really in bliss. You're in denial. You're in delusion. You're in distraction. You're in addiction. So I don't take on anybody's projections anymore. That's one thing I've learned along this awakening path. You know, that if people like try to project onto me that, you know, I should be over it by now, or I should just let it go, or any I shoulds, I'm just like, okay, you're confessing the work that you need to do, but you haven't done it yet. So, yeah, I have had, this has been, now we're going into my 5th year, 5 years of extreme grief. Years, not months, not days, but years of grief and of fear, primarily, have been the two main emotions that have been trapped in my body. From my childhood. I think a lot of my anger and rage I got out on a dance floor to Rage Against the Machine in my 20s. You know, so punk music has its use. It's healing too. It's healing too. But the fear and the grief, the wet emotions, was not something I was particularly good at. Because, like, where are you given the opportunity to do that? In the 3D world. You know, in the 3D world, when you spend, as I said, when you spend a week in bed, somebody's going to say that, oh, you've got a disorder, or you've got chronic fatigue syndrome, or you've got this, or you've got that, instead of just going, oh, you know, maybe you're in a burnout, a spiritual burnout, after all the years that you've been like working like a dog to heal your life. Or maybe you're just completely, your nervous system has gone into, you know, the dorsal vagal shutdown. Maybe that's what's happening. So there's a lot of explanations that aren't judgmental. And that's why we have to be careful that we're not judging ourselves. Okay, I have to spend a week in bed and go slow. And then I'm going to cry, and then I'm going to sleep. And then I'm going to cry, and then I'm going to sleep. And I'm going to cry, and then I'm going to sleep. And then I'm going to scream, and then I'm going to sleep. And that's the work. That's the work that others are afraid to do. So if others are afraid to do it and projecting onto you their own fear about doing it, it's going to come out sounding judgmental. So we have to really make sure that that's one reason why we're in isolation and hermitage, so we're protected from projections. But we also have to make sure that we're not being harsh and critical on ourselves. So that means no, oh my God, I'm so lazy. I should be up and doing things. And listen, I'm guilty. I'm not saying this is easy to quiet the judge that's inside of us. You know, my judge was born with my mother's voice. And man, I can criticize myself like nobody's business. You know, man, the self-hatred and the self-loathing program run very deep. And I've been working on that for 6 solid years to reprogram the neural pathways so that they stop doing the same thing, which is, you know, you stupid fuckhead, why did you do that? You made a mistake. You know, like, oh man, like I'm bad. It's bad, you know, and I'm hypersensitive right now because, you know, there's multiple things that are at play at the same time. So ego is just going crazy and the mind is going crazy, trying to attack because what's happening is you're healing, and ego's job was to prevent that from happening because it was trying to protect you. But now you're mature enough and responsible enough to be able to like handle this kind of stuff. But ego doesn't understand that. So ego's losing power and freaking out and saying all kinds of things, which is activating the judge, which is like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. There's something wrong with you. You know, you're dying because you have bladder issues. You know, like you're going to have diabetes again. You're going to get sick again, all these things. You know, the mind just, you got to stop listening to that thing. It's such a fucking liar. Such a liar. It's like, oh, like, and then you surrender into sleep. You surrender into having your identity completely melted. And like, I have no idea who I am right now. Like zero. No, I really don't. At one point I'm like, do I even continue my YouTube? Because like, I don't know who I am. But I did make a commitment to show what an awakening is like. So here I am showing you what an awakening is like. I'm hearing the song Love and Rockets, Ball of Confusion. Do you know that song? It's a great song. That is what the world is today. Ball of confusion. I'm suggesting all of us go and listen to that song and maybe dance a little bit if we can, even if it's just chair dancing, because the energy is a lot. The energy is a lot. I'm hoping that I am coming out the other side. We are at the solstice now. So the days begin to get longer again. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. I think for me, part of this process has been learning to accept what is, learning to go with the rhythms of my body, of what my body needs, as opposed to what my mind in the 3D perspective is shooting it to do, which it can't. It cannot. So you just have to like, yeah, I'm doing the best I can, and I'm going to give myself a lot of love and a lot of forgiveness. Mostly I'm forgiving how critical I've been. Like how critical I have been on myself. Like what I have accomplished in the last 6 years is insane. Insane. And I know I'm not the only one that has had like one thing after another thing after another thing, like health issues and legal issues and marriage collapse and divorce and, you know, losing your house and losing your belongings and, you know, getting hit by having an accident and getting hit by a bobcat. Okay, maybe that one's a little bit unique. But we're all like facing things, and even my ego mind, again, see, more like my ego mind wants to go like, nobody knows what it's like to have my suffering. And I'm like, would you get over yourself? Would you get over yourself? Everybody is suffering right now. Absolutely everybody is suffering. And, you know, I just want to send love out to everyone. And like, if I could magically go into your home and go into your life and take away your suffering, like I would. I would fly there in a heartbeat, around on my invisible jet, and just go save the world. But that's not my mission. And that's not your mission either. Our mission is to save ourselves. We're shifting out of the old timeline that was all about somebody else dying for our sins and us empaths learning from that example to martyr ourselves. And we're learning to be in a new energy that is saving ourselves and using our gifts of empathy, compassion, and love to, help heal ourselves, so that we can step into the role of a wounded healer in the light archetype, as opposed to into the shadow, where we're still walking around with our traumas and, our wounds controlling things. So my ego has taken a lot of hits this last week, and I've been humbled a good bit, and that's part of the process. And in a way, I welcome the humbling, and in a way, I welcome the not knowing, the complete collapse of the 3D matrix world that I was once plugged into. I'm so unplugged from everything. It's so weird. I'm like this free floating. It's just so weird because my ego mind, again, the ego mind is like, you need to have a better job and be, getting a monthly income, because my income is like here, there, and everywhere, because I do everything by donation. So, and it's not like it turned into like an overnight viral sensation, even though I've been working as hard as I possibly can. And that in itself, my ego's like, enough. You've done so much work, and you need rest now is what you need. But my ego's like, no, you need to work harder. You need to have a marketing team. You need to cross promote. You need to push. And I'm like, there's no more pushing. There's no more pushing. There's no push left in this lady. I got no push. If this YouTube goes off the air, well, it won't go off the air because it gets left as a legacy. But if I stop making videos next month, okay. If I have to give up all my Oracle decks, okay, if that's what Spirit wants. I already got rid of all the pretty boxes. I have a deck out. Let's pull a card. Let's pull a card. Because it's fun. Oops. A whole bunch. That first card, a whole bunch just jumped out. Shall I just take them all? Since all of these cards jumped out. Okay, so we've got Willow Spirit coming up with flexibility. Yeah, I'm learning to be flexible and to let it all go. Because and leading by the heart, look at that. Let the heart lead. I am letting my heart lead. My capacity to love, yeah. Where needs love in the world? I'm going to show up there. Is where needs love. We are expanding. Spirit guardian of summer. Expansion. Well, I'd like some expansion, and I like this. This tree looks like a peach tree, and now I'm hearing the presidents of the United States of America. Is that what it is? The dead presidents or just the presidents? Peaches come in a can. They were put there by a man. I don't know why that song came in. I like peaches. Is that how it goes? Peaches, yeah. Yeah, okay, eat some peaches. We're expanding, people. Maybe by the summer, we're going to not even know ourselves as we lead from the heart and let ourselves be guided by spirit. Very nice spirit energy there. What else do we have that came out? Sanctuary, Mystic Meadow. Well, yeah, I'm in my sanctuary. I don't know about you guys, but I like this. We got some mama bear energy coming up. We've got a hare, and we've got a fox. We've got in the distance, in the background, kind of like a castle, but none of us are looking at that. It's something we've left behind. Perhaps the place that we once held as our own home and our own sanctuary, we're in a transition. We're moving to somewhere that's more in keeping with nature. We are being guided by nature. I love this. This rabbit is like, the rest of them are just natural, and then this rabbit is all like queen-like. Look at her. Like the bear. Rawr. And then we also have a Bluebell Fairy, Gratitude. Card number 6, that's my birthday. Bluebell Fairy, Gratitude. So yeah, if we can find a teeny tiny little bit of gratitude in this crazy, in this difficulty, that is what's going to transform it. And I feel so much gratitude. Weirdly, I feel gratitude that I'm actually healing, because 3 days ago, and that's how quick it's happening. I was like, how am I ever going to get through this? How am I ever going to integrate this? Because this was the most challenging, those memories has been the most challenging. And I'm like, how am I ever going to integrate this? And the answer came as sit in it and cry and experience it and feel it fully. And each purge, each release, I was healing myself just a little bit more and a little bit more. And like, that's what I want more than anything, is to be healed of this. So I do. So I'm feeling a lot of gratitude. I'm feeling gratitude for this home that I'm in. I'm only here for another month and a half. And that makes me a little bit nervous, but also a little bit excited to see what's coming. There's definitely some fear, but there's also like, yeah, I'm going to have some adventures. That would be nice. Adventures? Would be lovely. Talking about adventures, I'm getting comfortable behind the wheel of my Fiona, and getting myself to acupuncture or to a crazy doctor that just gave me a prescription without taking a test. That's weird. So yeah, I'm gonna follow up with a regular doctor this week and get tests. To just verify that I do in fact have an infection, just in case. I don't want to just take drugs because it could be that. Have we not learned along our paths that misdiagnosis can be very dangerous? What if this is Arwen stuff? I feel so sorry. I feel so much love towards my little girl she's also sleeping like there's no tomorrow in her little tower that I made her to look out the window. I'm sending everybody so much love out there. I have so much gratitude for you. Like, really, I have so much gratitude for you. I don't think you guys understand that although this mission of mine, my soul, that's totally crazy. My soul is very crazy because, I didn't know what I was doing, what my mission was until halfway through my mission. When I started this, I thought that I was going to give a few little tidbits of info on how to cure diabetes. I really hope my diabetes isn't back because that would suck. So it would. I had no idea I was about to have a Kundalini. I had no idea that my marriage was about to completely collapse and fall apart, and I'd get a confession to end all confessions, and I'd end up reporting him to the police. I had no idea. I had no idea what a trauma bond was. I had no idea what a twin flame was. I had no idea what legal battles awaited me, that I'd be living in a B&B. I had no idea that I'd be driving. I had no idea that when you embark on a spiritual journey and you keep digging, what you get is into the shit. It gets grosser. The deeper you go, it gets grosser. But I've survived it all. I'm incredibly resilient. Boggles my brain a little bit. A little bit boggles my brain. So that's where I'm at right now, is a total boggled brain. And this stuff is challenging. If you're sitting in it and you're feeling it and you're releasing it, man, you are a warrior. You are an absolute warrior. I think that's all I got. So I'm going to love and leave you, and I'm going to go back to bed. I've got a solstice celebration on Zoom to join in an hour. So peace in, everybody. And if you want to join the Spiritual Warrior Support Group Zoom meetings, those are happening this week. So they are. I did cancel last week because I was bedridden, but this week they're going to be on. Especially that, so the Wednesday falls on Christmas Eve. And a lot of us have lost our families on this journey and are in an isolation hermit mode. So join the Spiritual Warrior Support Group on Christmas Eve. It's a place to not feel so alone on Christmas Eve. That's at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, and I'll be there. Maybe not with bells on, because I don't got no bells. But I'll dig out my a Christmas decoration or somewhere out of one of my totes. And otherwise, Friday thereafter, so that would be Boxing Day, is another day that you can come and join the Spiritual Warrior Support Group Zoom meetings. Send me off an email if you want to join those meetings, and I'll provide you with the link. They're free. They're free. To email me, it's in the description usually. Otherwise, justbeing@gmail.com. That's JUST being@gmail.com. And I'm sending everybody, regardless of your faith, a very happy season of festivities, if that's your jam. And if it's not, like me, then have a peaceful Yule. Have a peaceful you.